Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Get out the tinfoil hats, boys and girls. We're going to talk about it. What happened on that dreaded day last year when Tennessee got beat 63-38 by South Carolina. They were cost a college football playoff spot. And look, I said I wasn't going to make this video, but the more I've looked into it, the deeper I dig, the more I think there might be a little something here. Some of you guys may be saying, Boogie, what in the world are you talking about? There is a scandal going on right now in college football. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. But as always, help me out. Smash the thumbs up just below the video. That is quick, free, and easy. It does help this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media. We're not talking at you here. We're talking with you. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. We'll be live tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. The morning show is back. Myself, Coach Jay, going to be breaking down this Tennessee-Kentucky game coming up on Saturday night. But let's take a look at it. Article from A to Z Sports.com says latest reports lend some credence to the theory that Tennessee was cheated out of a college football playoff spot in 2022. We all know how painful that loss to South Carolina was last year. Tennessee had everything to play for. Everything was in place for Tennessee to have a shot at a spot in that college football playoff, and we all know how that dreaded night ended. Now, let's go on and take a look at it. Says here earlier on Wednesday, I being Zach Reagan over at A to Z Sports, wrote about a conspiracy theory involving South Carolina and Tennessee that I honestly didn't think could be true. That's kind of where I was at with Zach. Didn't think this thing really had any momentum, any steam, any truth to it. The deeper I dig, the more I think maybe there's something here. Let's see more. Says the idea is that Michigan, a program that we now know was stealing signs and also scouted Tennessee games last year, in an effort to steal signs, gave South Carolina information to help them beat the Vols last November and keep them out of the playoff. Says I thought that idea was a bit far-fetched because of the way the Vols played in Columbia that night. Sure, South Carolina's game plan seemed strangely perfect after playing terribly the previous week against Florida, but Tennessee specifically, the defense didn't play well at all against the Gamecocks. Seemed like a bad time to have a bad night for the Vols. You go down here and take a look. This is from Football Scoop. New report from Football Scoop suggests that Michigan may have tried to disrupt a program's path to the playoff by sharing information with another player. Now, some of you may be lost. What in the world is Boogie talking about? What is Michigan up to? Well, let me share this clip. I think this will kind of explain what's going on here. And if you like tinfoil hat conspiracy theories, I think this video, does this guy not scream conspiracy theorist? Let's take a listen.
So it turns out the guy that is the mastermind behind Michigan's cheating scandal is an absolute psycho, and he had a 600-page plan to take over the Michigan football program. This is Connor Stalions. He was an assistant coach at Michigan. He's currently under investigation for stealing signs of other teams' plays to help Michigan during their football games. On the surface, you would think Connor Stalions wasn't really worth anything. He was an assistant that made $55,000, but in reality, this man was running a sophisticated network of spies. It appears that Connor Stalions has been sending individuals to games for upcoming Michigan opponents to go to the game and then record the opposing team's sidelines while they're doing the signs that.
So that's worth noting right there, talking about Michigan sending scouts to opposing teams' game to record the signs being sent in, and then Connor Stalions would break those down and translate that into a game plan. So what does that have to do with South Carolina? Michigan would have possibly played Tennessee, right? Had Tennessee beat South Carolina, gone on to play in the college football playoff, very possible they would have been an opponent for Michigan. That's why they had the information that they had. Let's hear a little bit more from the tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist.
That is indicating to the players on the field what play they're going to run. Thanks to Connor Stalions not making his Venmo private, we have found charges like this. GA. Connor Stalions paid Chase Evans. Chase Evans was a recruiting football intern at Michigan at the time, December 30th, 2022. Now, what was December 31st, 2022? It was Ohio State, Georgia in the college football semifinals. Michigan was playing on the same day against TCU. If Michigan won, they would have played the winner of this game. Here's another Venmo charge that Penn State versus Ohio State was played 2 days after this former Navy football player charged Connor Stalions for game. The connection to Navy is that Connor Stalions went to Navy and he worked on the football team while he was at the Naval Academy. It was called the.
So the examples go on and on and on where you can see future opponents, possible future opponents for Michigan, these tickets are being purchased, and these scouts are going and recording the signs on the sideline. So let's go back to the article from A to Z Sports, and again from footballscoop.com. Says sources told Football Scoop this week that the Wolverines had scouted SEC foes, including Georgia and Tennessee, as potential college football playoff adversaries. Moreover, a source with direct knowledge indicated to Football Scoop that Michigan may have attempted to assist the opposition of a college football playoff opponent in an effort to disrupt that team's path to the playoff. Says here South Carolina isn't even mentioned, and we don't know if Tennessee was the program that Michigan wanted out of the playoff, but the number of programs it could have been are limited, and Tennessee would make sense because the Vols would have been one of the easier programs to knock out of the playoff since they had already had a loss to Georgia. Goes on to say, plus we all know that South Carolina head coach Shane Beamer is willing to accept information about other programs based on the fine he received in 2016. We can see that evidence here if we go over and take a look at SportsIllustrated.com. Here's the article. Georgia assistant Shane Beamer fined $25,000 for involvement in Wake Forest leak scandal. Again, this goes back to 2016. You go down here and it says University of Georgia fined assistant coach Shane Beamer $25,000 for his role in the Wake Forest leaking scandal on Thursday. Beamer is a former assistant coach at Virginia Tech, which is one of the 3 schools to be publicly identified for taking time planning information from former Wake Forest radio analyst Tommy Elrod. It goes on and gives the quote from Shane Beamer. He said, while at Virginia Tech, I was contacted by Tommy Elrod the night before our game against Wake Forest in 2014. I had known him for several years through the coaching circle, so I did not think it was unusual he would be calling me. During those communications, however, he told me about a few plays that he said Wake Forest might run during the game on Saturday. Realized I made a serious mistake in judgment by accepting the information and failing to notify the officials at Virginia Tech of the communications. He goes on to apologize, yada, yada, yada. So there's the evidence that Shane Beamer, you give him the information, he's willing to accept it. He's willing to take it. And again, you go back to that night against South Carolina, and everybody had been on me all year long because I had said that South Carolina game's a toss-up. I think Tennessee can lose that game depending on which Spencer Rattler shows up. Well, we know which Spencer Rattler showed up. He played nearly flawless, completing 30 out of 37 passes, 438 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That's easy to do if you know what the other football team is doing, if you know what coverage they're in, if you know what blitz packages they're using. It's pretty easy for Spencer Rattler, when he gets that information, to be able to process that and go play the game of his life. Now, is that what happened a year ago against South Carolina? Do you believe there's any if there's smoke, there's fire? Is there a fire here? Is this something that Shane Beamer is going to have to answer for? What does this ultimately lead to, right? Because you talk about vacating wins. I don't know if that's something South Carolina would have to do. This investigation is going to drag out forever. I think Jim Harbaugh at Michigan probably in a lot of trouble here. But again, it's going to take some time to play out. But, you vacate wins. Who really cares, right? Nobody's going to take away the way we felt that night after the loss to South Carolina. Tennessee's not magically going to get an opportunity to go play in the college football playoff a year ago. So you can vacate wins, do whatever you want to do. At the end of the day, does it really matter? Goes on to say Beamer denied using the information in the Wake Forest scandal, and then it follows it up here. It says, for now, we don't know if South Carolina did or did not take information about Tennessee from Michigan, but this wild conspiracy doesn't feel so wild anymore. And if it turns out to be true, Vol fans will have every right to be furious. So again, I wasn't going to make this video. I kind of joked about this video last night during the live stream. Talked about whether or not we were going to discuss it, get into it. We didn't. But then the more I looked into it, the more I dug into it, the more I thought it was worth bringing to you guys. Now, what do you think? Jump into the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. As always, make sure you guys do smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. And go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin VAWLS Network. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. We appreciate all the support from you guys. And thank you, as always, to the members of the channel. You keep the lights on around here. We appreciate the support. You can hit that join button down below for as little as $1. For as little as $1 per month, you can support what we're trying to do here. You get a power T beside your name, custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, access to the fan call-in show, all kinds of fun perks and benefits, but more importantly, you're supporting this channel and what we're trying to do. Give me the opportunity to bring you guys as much content as possible. Going to continue to cover this Tennessee-Kentucky game coming up on Saturday. Again, we'll be live in the morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. But that's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.